Hey guys, Zeteo here. Today we're taking a look at a 5v5 replay analysis. We're taking a look at EagleSoar, and they're playing on Silver Ridge. Let's jump into it. So this review is primarily going to be the early mid-game, just how to pressure your opponents and things like that. A little bit of a mistake there. I think you accidentally canceled your Q there. Things like that certainly happen. It happens to me quite a bit. I accidentally move my commander, then everything is gone, and I got to queue it all back up. So, kind of annoying. At the same time, you do have a bit of extra metal to, or sorry, a little bit of extra energy to work with, so you don't stall at all here. Typically, you would need to pause building your mechs just for a moment to build your solar for a moment, and then go back to the mechs, because otherwise you stall for half second. Anyways, yeah, you're just adding on some wind, got your solar, all good stuff with your opener so far. Looks like you're opening into bots here. Let's speed up a little bit. All right, so core bots. Now this map, actually I should talk about the positions too, but on this map there isn't like a lot of metal to work with, except for in the very center. So this becomes a very important thing to strive to have. All right, so now you're adding on some more solars, getting your con out. Also, I want to note that your team is set up so that they're all like, your teammates are all up here, whereas, you know, you're down here basically by yourself. So usually the spawns are like this a little bit, like one person will be here and here and here when you're doing a 5v5 on this map. But one of your players is out here in the middle, and that protects purple. So maybe purple is going to eventually go air or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on how you guys are set up here, but either way, you are in a position where you have more that you have to take care of. You have more to fight for. You have more mexes to work with. So it's all about balancing that out and making sure that you have enough stuff going on. All right, so you got some grunts out. You are, I guess, just like looking to, you know, have them forward to make sure that things aren't running through, which is fine. They could be out here. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so one of the things that people might tell you is like to use your grunts, to like send them forward, and if you do that, then you're protecting yourself because you can see whatever's crossing through this line of vision that you have, but then at the same time you're also pressuring them. So I don't know. At the same time, though, like doing that, and if you lose those grunts, then you're just behind on grunts. So it's kind of fine that you're not doing that, in my opinion. But it's good that you poked up, saw the units, and then just came back and just said, well, I don't need to engage that. I know that you have some units out. I know you have pawns. I know your armada. I don't see a commander yet. Things like that are all good information. But yeah, any bits of information that you can get is really good. I mean, ideally you have grunts coming out in case these push forward, and these can just run through. So you could like harass some of this, assuming that the commander's not over there, and things like that. But yeah, your commander's moving up with a pretty reasonable timing. I think you spent all your metal. Now, this is primarily a wind map. Wind is really strong on this map, so you don't actually want these solars. So actually you are reclaiming one. But yeah, you want to get into that the wind production ASAP. So it's good that you're doing this. And at the same time, wind is high enough that you can actually just overbuild it. It's kind of fine. Just convert the extra little bits. And then since wind can go all the way down to 1, you definitely want a lot of energy storages as well. You do have 1 so far, so that's great. And honestly, I mean, I don't really mind the solars too much. I don't really know what the wind speed was, so it's kind of fine that you have them. And then you're just getting rid of them when you don't need them anymore as you're building on more wind. So this can get you a bit of a lead to begin with. That was a nice engagement, by the way, just like jumping on those pawns, because you had so much more. So definitely a mistake by Timmy here, our orange player. All right, so you see the commander, you know where it's at. Your commander's moving forward, grabbing some reclaim. I would say it's more important that this commander starts building some towers over here, just so that you can make sure that you keep the 3 mexes here. It's a little bit more important than grabbing the metal that you don't exactly need. And you also have these res bots to be able to do that too. So, you know, you can use the res bots. I would actually recommend picking up those units, resurrecting them over reclaiming them in that position. Just because then you just have all those grunts and stuff back. And then you can use those to pressure, run along here maybe, and do some potential damage in the base here. But you are spending that money, so that's great. You are, it's not like a ton of concerts, but you are, you know, building up your base. You do have an idle con, unfortunately, but, you know, it's really not that big a deal. It could be up here, grabbing these mexes as well. But yeah, you want to grab as many of these mexes as possible so that you have more resources to work with here. But yeah, so you are, I think, up against 2 players here, primarily. Yeah, you basically are fighting these 2 guys. Now, this player is not fighting you at the moment. They're over here protecting the pink player. And then these guys are just kind of squeezed up here trying to do what they can, too. But yeah, so it's basically 2 against you, and you need to be aware of that. And it can be tricky. You need to, like, spend really, really efficiently. I don't mind the Warden here, just to be able to, you know, hit some of the rockets from a distance. And then, yeah, getting a jammer, that's great. Get the jammer against those rockets as well. Your energy is quite low because the wind has died down. Probably not enough storages. You got some queued up, I suppose. So it's okay, but yeah, ideally you would probably want 2 before this point. Like, the more wind that you build, the more storages you should have. And you have enough wind to really have, like, 3-ish. And so now you're overbuilding concerts a little tiny bit when you really need the energy badly. But again, that's kind of because the wind is low. And because of that, you're going to lose the Warden to the rockets because it just can't shoot because you don't have energy. So Orange doing a nice job.
Commander
just kind of
has fallen.
I don't know if they planned this, but, like,
Commander
you know, it's a good time
died.
to attack when the energy's low, because light laser towers, I think beamers too cost energy. Wardens for sure do. So just not having the energy to shoot means these rocket bots can just, like, jump on there for free. And now you're kind of in a pickle, just taking damage from the rockets. Unfortunately, you can back up a little bit. That's not a big deal. You don't really need to, like, dart in and out like this. You can just, like, keep them back here and, you know, wait for them to come to you a little bit more. It's good that you're building the Warden further back. And it's good for you that Orange isn't pushing either. Orange certainly has, like, room to, like, maneuver around, but you guys have kind of ignored this section of the map, unfortunately. And you also have a couple mexes up here, so just kind of be aware of those extra mexes, because somebody should have them, even if it's, like, in your team's your teammates' area, and, like, it kind of should be theirs. Just take it, and if they ask for it, give it to them. But I mean, otherwise, somebody on your team should have that. Very important, because this is kind of a lot of metal here. All right, so you do have a con out here that you finally got out here to grab these bigger clusters in the middle here, but there is still those 2 in the back. Now it's 11.5 minutes in. Do you have a T2 plan? I don't know if you do, but either way, you could help fund teal if there's not much going on for you. Just that extra metal that you got, or that you have. You could turn it into units if you feel like you need it. You could turn it into defenses if you feel like you need it. But if you're trying to, like, you could greed, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is you could, like, help your team be in a better position for later on and give some of that metal. Like, you could have given, like, say, like, 1,000 metal to teal, and then they'd have this T2 lab sooner. They'd probably give you a T2 bot for your troubles, and then you'd be able to start upgrading mexes and just start having more economy. So that's just like a tidbit if your opponent's being rather passive. Now you are kind of 2v1. These units are finally realizing, like, okay, I should probably just come down here, because, you know, like, if you're not pushing teal, then it's sort of like you should be pushing the blue guy. And just laying down as much pressure as you can. So yeah, this is going to put down pressure over here. Orange is attacking as well, so you're kind of in a tricky situation here. Commander's coming out, maybe some D-guns. You do have a wall here, so, like, I don't know, it's helping out a little bit, but yeah, you're going to need some units this way. Okay, so they are wising up. The other team kind of dogpiling on you. So 2 players coming at you from this angle, and then you got your orange player coming at you as well. So yeah, you just need to continuously back up here. This is just way too much pressure to deal with. But that also does mean that, you know, teal and purple have the opportunity to kind of greed a little bit, or you know, make some kind of aggressive play because these units are not attacking teal. You know, so maybe purple can do some bombing. Maybe teal can work on stronger economy and then get those T2 units out a little bit sooner, or you know, in numbers a little bit sooner, I suppose, by greeting that way. But yeah, for you specifically in this position, when they all attack you like this, just keep backing up, keep producing units. And as you back up, you should take better trades just because you're the one backing up. And that's just how that kind of works out. And that's, you know, kind of primarily because weapons will predict where enemies are. So if you're backing up and the enemy's coming towards you, your shots from your units will predict where the enemy's going to be. And so it kind of gives them a little bit extra range in a way. You know, instead of the attacker who is predicting as you're running away, and so you're kind of like it's predicting a further away shot in a way. So you get a little bit more from that. But yeah, you are going to take some damage here because it's 3 players against 1. It happens. This is nothing to really worry about too much because this is allowing your teammate to grow and do things like this bombing attack. So, you know, purple's bombing all these thugs, or are they maces? Oh, okay, they are maces. Apologies for you thug enjoyers. But yeah, so you just need to you know, make sure you don't die here. Take it, you know, try to take as little damage as possible, and then rebuild ASAP. And that is a skill in and of itself. So let's see how you do this. So when you rebuild, you primarily want to just take a look at your resources and make sure that you are rebuilding the things that you need to rebuild. In this case, you're low on metal. You lost a lot of territory, and that means you lost a lot of mexes. You're sending, I mean, I think these guys were meant to, you know, reclaim some of these things here. And resbots can be really, really nice to have, but unfortunately, they're just running into the opponent and taking some damage. But yeah, you are moving up the T2 that teal gave you, and your rocket bots. So you're at least controlling the territory, grabbing the metal. Yeah, and if I were you, I would build some extra construction bots just to be able to take this really quickly, and try to grab these mexes ASAP. You did get a lot of extra metal from all the reclaim, which is really nice. Now you're getting your T2 lab, which is fine because your metal's in not too bad of a position here. So yeah, this is totally fine. You build it real fast, and you get your T2 going. Okay, so you potentially could have bought one from teal, but like you had so much metal, this is totally fine. You even have a lot of metal left over to be able to upgrade some mexes really quickly, so that's all good too. I would even maybe have a couple of Twitchers follow this guy, so just so that you have some mobile build power to upgrade your mexes faster. Let's see, purple's coming in here pushing with these gunships. They should actually be just going for the commander and blowing it up so that all this just dies. And it'd be a lot easier for you to push here then as well. But yeah, it looks like Orange was able to get up a chainsaw and destroy all those gunships, so a little bit unfortunate. But either way, you got a lot of metal to work with, and you need to be using this. So this is just a bit of a, you know, it happens. It's a mistake. You just have this guy's idle when he should be working. And if he had been working during that attack, you could already have all these mexes upgraded. So, was it, you got 3 mexes here? Yeah? Yeah. Especially with the concerts here to assist the upgrades, you could have gotten that a lot faster. 3 T2 cons feels like a lot here as well, by the way. They cost a lot of money. You primarily want them for the ability to build T2 stuff. In terms of actual build power per cost, they're very inefficient. You want to have something like Twitchers. You want combat engineers or assistants like butlers to be able to assist those T2 bots when possible, because that's like 1,500 metal that is just sitting there now. But yeah, I guess, I mean, you're primarily microing this stuff around. That's where your APM is going. You got 36 APM, pretty reasonable, but it kind of just tells me that you're more of a micro player. You are moving your units around a lot. You're not paying attention to your base all that much. Which, you know, that just means that that's the side of things that you need to work on a little bit more, is just make sure that these guys aren't idle. I believe it's tab, I want to say. No, that's select commander. What's idle? Oh, so it's control tab. Okay. I mean, it's kind of an awkward thing. I use tab for it to kind of switch, but you can go to your idle builders and just like tab over and be like, okay, who's idle? Let's build some stuff. Who else is idle? Okay, let's build some stuff. And just do it that way. So for you, it would be control tab. For me, I have it set to tab, to just tab, not control. So I use tab, you would use control tab. But either way, you want to rebuild this stuff ASAP with T1 mexes, because those pay for themselves like immediately. And then you're just getting extra metal after that. Whereas T2 mexes take a little bit of time to pay for themselves. And it takes time, you know, to build it. It takes time to get over there and stuff like that. So, you know, primarily you want to be doing that. Let's see, you are moving some fiends forward. I mean, this is fine. It's mostly just like scouting and stuff. I am noticing that your lab goes offline quite often. I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but I would highly recommend, especially as more of a micro player, to just have it on repeat and just queue up stuff on repeat. And then if you want to save up money for something, you just pause your lab. I forget what key that is for grid players, or for default players, I should say. I guess it's a Y. Wait or pause would be Y. I have mine set to H. I use custom keys, so that's why I have to figure all that out. But yeah, definitely use this repeats. In fact, if you like always want to use it, there is a, like, you can just type, whoops, repeats in the filter, and then auto repeats for factories. This yellow meaning that it's on. So mine is on. I use it a lot, and I use pause and stuff. Some players prefer not to use it, but since you are more of a micro player and your macros faltering a little bit, I would highly recommend it. And to use it, it's really simple. All you do is, I mean, either manually put repeat on or have it on in the options, and then just queue up whatever you want to repeat, and it'll repeat it in whatever order you queued up in. And if you want to insert something into that queue as a one-time thing, you hold Alt and queue it up. So if I, like, say I set up a queue of like 3 Fiends, 1 Deceiver, 1 Augur, and 5 Sheldons. And it'll just repeat that in that order. And then let's say I want a Spy Bot, I want a Spectre. I'll hold Alt and then just click the Spy Bot. And it'll produce it as the next thing. And then I'll just have 1 Spy Bot that won't be on the repeat. So things like that can be very useful for building. Like, I like to build like one T2 constructor with 5 Twitchers, and just have that, you know, have those Twitchers follow the the T2 guy, and just build all my mexes, queue up some mexes down here, etc., etc. I mean, you are doing that. You have your T1 constructors down here, which is great for this guy. Upgrade those ASAP. But yeah, since you built 3 advanced, T2 builders, you might as well, send them out, start upgrading a bunch of stuff. Let's see. Do you have? You had 3. Okay, here's your second one or third one or whatever. But yeah, just out here building, I guess, some anti-air. Commander's assisting. That's fine. You have a shroud, which is great. But yeah, try to get these mexes ASAP, because you want to be able to do more things with your money. You want to just, like, basically everything you do should be towards getting more money so that you can have more units. Like, the goal is to defeat your opponents, and that means just having more stuff in a lot of cases. And then, as you learn about as you have more stuff, and you're like kind of equal with your opponent in terms of macro, then it becomes a little bit more about what units are you building with it. Which unit is the right unit for the task. Let's see, you are moving forward here. You got the scuttle, which is funny. Are you going to use it? I want to see you use it. Oh, unfortunately, it doesn't quite get in there. I don't think it was cloaked. Now that I think, I mean, maybe it was. I'm not sure. Either way, I think actually the jammer probably got hurt and then turned off, and then all of a sudden the scuttle's not jammed. You do have a commando here as well. If you're building this just for jamming, I highly do not recommend it. Do not do that. The reason why you build a commando is because it's a paratrooper. When it loads into a transport and gets shot down, it's the one unit that'll survive the transport and land. And then from there can like do things like lay mines. Let's see, utility, you can build a transport and a scout. Like you can scout ahead and then send the transport into the commando. And then the transport gets shot down, the commando lands, and hopefully that's near the enemy base. And then with the commando, in the combat tab, you have medium mines as well. So you can just like blow up stuff with the medium mines. It has like some insane build range too. So you can just like put mines pretty far away from the commando as well. So that's the primary use. It is kind of expensive. It's on the second page here. 1200 metal for it is huge. Like generally speaking, that's not worth it even for its normal roll, because it so easily gets killed off there. But yeah, you're just using it for a jammer, so I don't really recommend that. Just use a regular jammer bot because it's just a better value by a long shot. But yeah, it's really good that you're upgrading these T2 mexes. You got a chunk of metal coming in, and you got lots of energy. I would say you can even get a little bit more build power, like 4 more concerts or something, to be able to just crank this out even faster. You could potentially greed for more economy, especially like this position here. These could be upgraded. I mean, I think Teal looked at this situation and said, well, if nobody's going to do it, I'm going to grab these mexes, which is fine. You could ask for them if you want. Otherwise, hopefully Teal's using it. Teal's metals actually is super high, so he's not really using it, but it's kind of whatever. But yeah, okay, so you were asking about, you and your opponent have this kind of like relaxed game and everybody else is like doing all these things and stuff. So you're kind of wondering what you should be doing here. So I want to focus on that a bit, especially at this point in time, as your side of the game has slowed down quite a bit. Yeah, okay, so, well, I think your team just found the nuke here in the corner. So you're building an anti-nuke, which is great. It is 31 minutes into the game, so in a 5v5, I mean, if you don't see like tons and tons of units coming out and it's not like, battle, try to have the anti-nuke a little bit sooner, like at the very least 20 minutes in a 5v5. In an 8v8, it's typically a little bit sooner, but it's kind of like you need to guess if someone's going nuke or not, and you don't usually see it in a 5v5, so I can understand forgetting it or just not having it for a little while. But yeah, you could certainly greed a little bit. And your stuff's just kind of sitting idle. I'm not sure what you're doing.
T2 unit detected.
Okay, so you're just kind of microing this stuff around a little bit. Okay, now you realize...
Aircraft spotted.
Yeah, sorry for the announcements. Since I put on your view, it's like calling out all the announcements from earlier. Okay, so you're building an APHIS. This is fine. I mean, this is all good. APHIS costs a ton of build time. So even though you have a lot of resources, you're actually not spending it very fast. So you could actually have more concerts here. Highly recommend just having more concerts if your metal's high. And then, yeah, you can build some converters after that.
Commander
you already have it all
died.
queued up. That's all good stuff. See, I think it came off your view. So there we go. Put it back on your view here. So your team's basically winning. Which, it's kind of like the three of you guys on the bottom aren't doing a whole lot. So it's like whatever happens on the top is like what's going to win the game. And, kind of as it is, in some sense, you're holding tan and orange by yourself. And that's great. You want to be doing, like, if you can do that, that's what you want to be doing. Tan is not helping out up here. Orange is not helping out up there. So if you're keeping 2 players from helping out against your other team by yourself, that's great. That's all you really need to do, and that should be fine. The rest of your team, if we think about it, it's really a 4v3. We got red, yellow, and pink versus purple, teal, light green, green, and it's just like more. It's an extra player that they have to deal with essentially. So it's kind of fine. But yeah, so you could be greeding harder. You could put down, actually it looks like you're putting a forward lab, which is totally fine, especially since your opponent is rather passive. And now you're cranking out mammoths, which is good. This just could have been sooner. So if you just did things a little bit faster with your base, you could have done that sooner. And you certainly had the metal for it, so I'll try to set this up a little faster. And I think that's primarily what I'll tell you here is just try to do things a little bit faster, have more con turrets. Like, you have so much metal saved up here, you might be underestimating how many con turrets you need to be able to support stuff. And then at the same time, you're not building units, that might have to do with the repeat key. It might have to do with just like what your plans are. But either way, typically you want to be producing units and pushing as much as possible. But yeah, since it's 2v1, it's kind of like you're the defender, and if it's like that for a while, it's totally fine. Now, if you saw Tan go and do stuff and help out, or you saw Orange specifically, actually, like if you're no longer holding Orange, like if Orange decided to ignore you and help out up top, and now all of a sudden you're doing nothing while it's 4v5 essentially, that would not be good. Then you'd absolutely be needing to push. But yeah, it's kind of fine that you're taking little gains, moving your units up slowly. Things like mammoths are great in this kind of situation because they are so slow. They're not great at pushing, but they're great at like holding a narrow area and kind of doing a slow push. So that's all great. That's all good stuff. You're even building some anti-air to deal with stuff. You certainly have the economy to do T3 if you wanted to do that instead, but mammoths are totally fine as well. So yeah, I mean, you could be doing more to push potentially. Like you could, like these players are very like relaxed, kind of just chilling, defending. And overall, it's a better move not to attack. But
Commander
if you think you can take them, then maybe you can take them and end the game even sooner for your team and win by destroying these two players and then helping out by attacking here. And that would just come down to, maybe after your 2 or 3 fusions here, you just start really cranking on units and starting to produce. I mean, you could do Fiends. Fiends are kind of great for, because they're faster, they can kind of hit from weird angles and make it hard for that player to defend both the front and the weird angle. So Fiends are good for that. Sheldons, if you want to do a slower push. Things like mammoths eventually, sumos for a slower push as well are really nice to just absorb damage for your Sheldons.
Commander has fallen.
And yeah, it looks like purple's just going to clean this up down here since most of the game is basically already over. But yeah, you could also do things like spam. You could just spam out T1 units, after a few fusions or something. I mean, basically, after you took that damage and rebuilt and work towards grabbing these mexes really quickly and maybe grab these really quickly, like whatever you can do to increase your economy quickly is really good. The fusions and stuff are more like once you already have the mexes, then they become a little bit more important. Converting just in general isn't as efficient, so go for those mexes quickly, and then from there you can kind of pick and choose what you do, but whatever you do, you want to be spending your money and just have the stuff sooner. Like right now it's over 40 minutes in this game, and this push with stuff like you could have had this Aphis, you could have had the fusions, you could have had this push of mammoths and stuff around 20-25 minutes instead of 40 minutes.
Battle ended.
So just try to do stuff faster, and that's really where where it turns into like, okay, you're a good player and now you're an even better player by just doing it faster. So try not to have your lab idle, try not to bank a lot of metal, try to spend it on, I guess the whole point is to be decisive. Make a game plan, whatever it is, and just go for it. And if it's wrong and you die for it, then you die for it, and it's a learning experience. And if you don't die from it, then maybe, you realize like, oh, I could have been doing this my entire bar career and done this play before. But really, the world is your oyster because they're not attacking you and they're passive. So you could switch into air, you could switch into spam, you could switch into vehicles if you wanted. You could switch into, you know, lots and lots of T2 bots. You could, you know, there's all sorts of things you can potentially do to either overwhelm your opponent, slow push your opponent, ignore your opponents and go attack somebody else, or even if you wanted to, you could greed even harder and have, you know, like 50 APHIS by now if you're a really strong player, just by being decisive and just kind of going for it and learning from that experience. So I think overall that's what I will recommend, is just like whatever it is, just go for it. And, you know, and if it's wrong, then it's a learning experience. Anyways, I hope you learned something. I think that's pretty much it for me. But yeah, check out the rest of the stuff on my channel. There's plenty of analysis type stuff I do. I do a lot of replay reviews. I do a lot of 1v1 casts. I do speed analysis casts, if you can believe that. But those are primarily 1v1s. I might dip into some 8v8s eventually, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.